Jeffrey Riley. Thank you for listening. Our guest today is composer Webster Young. He has written many pieces of music he's composed, including several operas. And you can join us on the Exchange if you'd like to visit with Webster at 800-838. Webster Young, our guest on the Jefferson Exchange, composer. He took his Fifth Symphony to Ukraine last summer. So what was it that led to the Fifth Symphony being performed in Ukraine?
It started out with another orchestra called the $99 Orchestra. And this is a really interesting thing. It's an internet phenomenon. The $99 Orchestra got me going on the idea of getting my Fifth Symphony performed and recorded at a low cost for a small audience. And at first the project was going to be in London, and they would set it up and I was supposed to raise the money. But then I mentioned the project to a conductor in Ukraine, and he said that he could do the same thing at the same cost with the Lviv Philharmonia Orchestra. Lviv is near Poland. It used to be called Lvov or Lvov.
It's a very multicultural city with a lot of crossroads and different cultures there.
It's amazing. Lviv, Ukraine was a surprise to me. I was so impressed by the culture and the people there that I came away saying to myself, we can't let anything happen to this great culture and this great people.
So how many symphonies are there altogether, if this is number 5? I mean, how many Webster Young symphonies are there?
I've written 5 symphonies.
What kind of instruments do you play?
I play guitar, violin, piano, and later took up the cello.
It turned out to be a long journey from Southern Oregon to Ukraine in more ways than one. I was living in a theater town in the Cascade Mountains of Southern Oregon.
I'll have to call people and convince them that it's a good idea for them. I've looked at your website. It looks like you have an extensive career, and you should have a very strong base of supporters and fans.
Strategy, but I don't have a network of my own people.
Webster, hearing you speak, I sincerely doubt that you don't have a network of people that support you. You must have something.
We had a plan to raise money, but it was hard to interest people in a project 6,000 miles away from the Cascade Mountains in Southern Oregon, where there was almost no hope that anyone who contributed to the project would be able to even attend.
Do you have a mailing list of people that usually attend your concerts, or do you have any source?
You love those mountains. You're going to go into obscurity forever in those mountains. It's no good for your career.
I hadn't always lived in the mountains of Southern Oregon. I am from New York City, and I have definitely lived in places that are much better for gaining support for the premiere of a new symphony. And in fact, my first symphony was premiered in New Jersey, and with financial cooperation from the orchestra. We don't even have a single music critic in Ashland.
There's no support there.
There's a lot of musical talent here, mainly classical guitar.
Bird's eye maple, spruce, tight spruce from Bosnia. A fine instrument from 1928. I got it from a fisherman who needed beer money. He got beer money, I got mandolin. Yeah!
The best musical thing in our part of Southern Oregon was a distinguished classical music guitar society. My symphony has a theme of moral freedom and justice. And by chance, the performance fell on Ukrainian Independence Day. And that happened unknown to me, that scheduling. These are the chords of the chaconne, of the series of chords that are the basis of the movement. One of the guys advising me says, he says, you must have a lot of backers.
What about the two backers?
Well, it turned out only one of them showed up.
The REC Music Foundation makes lowish four-figure grants to start with to primarily opera and art song leader composers. And I've only supported a very few composers, Webster Young being one of them.
I got a small grant here, and now I'm being advised. So he gave me a quote that was actually not much difference. But of course that's Ukraine. You couldn't get a quote like that anywhere else in the world. So I said, I'll pay the same amount of money and get an orchestra that I know will do well.
So for $5,000, you got the performance of the Fifth Symphony in Ukraine.
It's cheap. I mean, you can get this stuff out there very, very reasonably. And there is a second culture in this country that's waiting for something like that.
Well, that's it. I can't click on it. It doesn't even like recognize my camera.
So what is happening with this symphony of mine? Well, we could talk. We could do that very soon. There's no problem now, I think.
Sure.
And how was the orchestra? I mean, how close did they come to realizing what you were hearing as you were composing the Fifth Symphony?
Well, there were a lot of surprises when I got to Ukraine.
So the orchestra is really a third of what other orchestras would cost.
Yeah, the orchestra is very inexpensive.
It must be their economy. Are they any good?
Yeah, all you have to do is go on their website.
In terms of the exact time and well, date, we should talk soon.
2, 2, 3, 4 à destination de Paris-Charles de Gaulle.
Ça nous a bien fait travailler les élèves.
Il n'y a pas panel qui participe. Oui.
This phone does not accept incoming calls. Message NY23958.
Hello, Taras. This is Webster Young calling. Our call, I think, was scheduled for now.
I've talked to a lot of the musicians, and they say that they have an audience here that really appreciates good music.
Well, I'm staying in Paris right now, preparing for Lviv. I'm only a couple of hours away, and it's great. I'm staying right near where I used to be when I was 28 years old, and I brought my first symphony here. Hello, is this Taras?
Yes, hi, Webster.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
So it's nice to meet you over the phone for the first time.
Yes, me too. Likewise. Yes. I'm sorry, I got confused. I think between times or something. I'm actually at the rehearsal right now, and I called you at 11 o'clock, and it turned out I'm at 12. So, is it okay if we speak about 3 hours later? I finish at 5 my time.
3 hours from now, it will not give us much time to speak.
Well, at least we could cover what we can, and then we can set up another exhibit. I apologize. Yeah, I love it, and the weather's been perfect. I don't know what it's like in Paris, but the weather's perfect right now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we finally got to temperatures that are tolerable here yesterday.
You'll like the hotel. It's a lovely hotel.
Hello? Taras?
Hello, Buster.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So, do you have a rehearsal schedule yet?
I believe we have just it's blocked, but I didn't get that far as far as scheduling what's rehearsing yet. So.
Did you have a chance to listen or look much so far at the score?
Just started looking, like literally.
Yeah.
I need a couple more days, kind of.
Okay.
It hasn't been a waste of time waiting there, has it?
Oh gosh, well, in Paris it's like a constant inspiration for me.
You're waiting for a detailed rehearsal schedule.
The passages.
Okay, that's not a problem.
So those are the only other musical question that will be obvious is the third movement. You're a violinist, I understand, so you can tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty tricky.
Yeah, it is. It is because it's changing.
They switched conductors on you?
Yeah, they had to. The principal conductor had to go to Nevada. They did change conductors on me, and they're both good conductors. I wouldn't mind, but now I have to go over everything again with the new conductor.
There's an interaction between that conductor and those musicians. And I mean, that's very, very important. And
I don't mind staying in Paris longer.
Well, not a bad place to be stuck.
Yeah, I mean, this was the neighborhood where I brought my first symphony when I first came to Paris when I was 28. And it really does something for me to be here. It really does something for me. I returned to Paris now with the beginnings of my second symphony, which is now called Symphony 1982. And I wrote the second movement in Paris. And the work went extremely well. It's one of the best things I've written and has taken other forms. It's been a ballet. And I wrote the second movement of that symphony in Paris. I was staying at a small hotel on Montmartre. So changing from terrace to you, do you think that makes any difference in the publicity we sent out, or, I mean, do we have to?
No, it's fine.
Whatever the concertmaster thinks is best for the playability. I was going over the first movement on my violin. We could talk a little bit about the new schedule, if there is one.
Yeah, I haven't quite made the schedule, the rehearsal schedule yet.
You're stuck at Paris then.
How are you passing the time?
What are you doing with yourself?
So he understood right away when I told him about the third movement. He said it was tricky. It should be. Yeah. It should be clear though. That there should be clarity. Yeah. I've been here a month. I'm waiting for the orchestra to say, okay, here's when the rehearsals are.
You're probably losing money on this.
I think I'm not.
I think you're stuck there psychologically even. Are you scared of going to Ukraine?
And I am a little scared of going to Ukraine. It's so incomprehensible to me.
You can't counsel.
Well, I'm tempted, but I'll tell you what happened. We've been calling it a symphony of freedom and justice. I said, do we have to watch out for any mafioso guys?
Oh, I believe it.
And he said, well, you'll see them, but they don't look like what you'd expect.
You know, one of these Russian boxers. They're really big guys.
I see. Well, we just won't say anything too opinionated.
It was on a particularly auspicious day in Ukrainian history, is that right?
It fell on Ukrainian Independence Day. I'm studying up on the value of the currency.
Yeah, well, it's been falling. It's been falling for a couple of days, fortunately. These new sanctions on Russia has caused the ruble to decline. And when the ruble declines, the hryvnia also declines. Coffee's cheap and really good. Really, really good. There's a great coffee and chocolate culture here.
Oh, it's the next night.
Your piece is the only new one on your program.
I see, okay.
I've got you on the first rehearsal. We'll do a run through the first day.
I just found out right at the first rehearsal that they only have B-flat trumpets in Eastern Europe. That's all.
Amazing.
And this affected all the rehearsals. I couldn't pay any attention to anything else. So the tempos were not quite right. There were places where the orchestra was out of tune and I couldn't point it out. And
as that's developing, I think that could lead to a good deal of discouragement in the air.
So when I found out about the trumpets, we redid the part at night, gave it to the player the next day, and then it was too difficult, it was too high. And then I had to rewrite the part.
So, what did you do?
So then, the new part went on the player's desk the next day, and he didn't ever see it. It was covered with the old part. And then the first time anyone heard the rewritten part was the last rehearsal.
So you had a very unique situation there that allowed that to happen.
And then playing it the way it was written, it was too high and too difficult. And so after the second rehearsal, I found out that the part, I should rewrite it. So I did that.
And you didn't meet with the conductor until after the rehearsal.
And I didn't even have a conference with him until after the second rehearsal. That's when he told me the trumpet part was impossible.
Yeah. 15 так, tutti measure piano. Measure 18. Forte. Tutti forte. 18 так, tutti forte. Measure 19. Leaning window.
Went to the Latin church there. Wow. So Lviv is really beautiful. You didn't expect that.
Yeah, the people, this is a great people and a great culture that I didn't expect.
So Lviv is really beautiful.
Yeah, it's really growing on me.
Wow. Wow.
It was very cultural from way back because it was part of the Habsburg Empire. So there's all this back and forth between, you know, the origins of things. You know, the Russians claim that Kiev was the origin of Moscow. But then the Ukrainians can argue, well, Kiev was ours, so Moscow came from us, not the other way around. Can you believe it? My symphony's being done on Ukrainian Independence Day.
Well, that's great that it's on Ukrainian Independence Day.
I only found that out when I got here.
That's a coincidence.
Yep, that is a coincidence.
So there won't be any press there, no reviewers.
Nope, I just found out to describe the meaning that is present in the first movement. Here is a Renaissance engraving, the triumph of two Roman emperors. You see them progressing through a triumphal arch with their procession, the chariot, the horses. Here, an angel is behind this coming in of a new time, a new government, a new era of justice and truth and more. There's some people here I would like to raise some money from, but the way this is going, I don't know what they're going to think. So we've had 4 rehearsals, and the 4th one sounded almost as bad as the first one. And I was sitting in the hall wondering if I should even be there. I was so sure that the performance was going to be a disaster.
No reviewers. Even on Ukrainian Independence Day.
Вітаємо вас в концертному залі імені Станіслава Ренкевича Львівської державної філармонії. І сьогодні у нас черговий концерт. Концерт в рамках International Conducting Workshop and Festival. Це симфонічні майстер-класи, які вже другий день.
dress rehearsal, good performance.
Yeah. People said they liked it. I never saw anyone who got the press release.
I see.
I wonder if anyone got the meaning of the music. I knew about as much as the average person about Ukraine. I thought of it as possibly a large agricultural country that was the breadbasket of the area, but it really is much more than that. The Ukrainian language is a highly sophisticated language.